All right. Okay, welcome to Valence Developer Diaries number 42. And today we're going to talk about the one new transform, which is a drop down grid, um, which can be used as like it's the same thing when you're transforming. We'll show that where you transform something to a drop down or drop down checkbox, um, the lookup, and this is kind of an advancement from the lookup. And then we're going to talk about the UI changes that have been made, like slim, ultra slim, and we've added a UI directly at the app level. So let's begin. We'll start with the transform. Okay, if some will be familiar with this and others if not, but this is an example orders app in Valence. And one of the things with this orders app is that when we drill into a customer and go into a order, there is a lookup so they can choose their ship to, right? So I click that magnifying glass and then I can select it. We're going to show a difference with the new drop-down grid instead of using that lookup for this. So we just have this orders new, and I know that this is the order header widget. So we'll go into that. Okay, so we have it there. It's the lookup. We're not going to do lookup anymore. Actually, I want to get the name of the widget though. So I remember it. Customer ship to. Okay.
So just like the lookup, the drop down grid requires a grid, right?
Yes, exact
The
same thing. Yeah, and it's going to require um, most of it's similar. So instead of the lookup, we got the drop down grid. And let me get that same list. So yeah, we have to pick a grid. What are we going to display? We were displaying the name before. The value field is the ship to number. Um, this is a little different. So first you have to define the height, which before on the lookup you defined the height and width, but height we'll say it's sure. Min width, auto or setting it. So if I leave it to be auto, it's going to attempt to have the actual drop down list on that field be the size of the field. However, if your field is somewhat small, but you have this list, you don't want that. So you can give it a minimum width. We'll give a minimum width of 50. And then here we have the UI, which is default slim or ultra slim, but Sean's going to go, we'll go over that next. So I'm just going to leave that optional. Save. Save this. This. And what was the, I know this guy has more than one ship to. Okay, so it looks similar to a drop down, right? However, clear it out. Now it's next to that, your field itself. It's just like a drop down. I don't have to like leave and have that pop up. I can type and search anything. So I could say like, so it's finding that, in our list, the grid Apple. Um, I can,
so that search works just like the contain search on our search option on a grid, basically. It looks
yeah,
like.
so it's kind of similar to, yeah, if you had a look up and it brought the pop-up up and we had a search, I don't know if we have a search field on that one. I don't think we do, but um yeah, if we had a search there, it would be just the regular grid search where just like Sean said, the contains, and then you could type find and then find the item you're looking for and then select it. Um, that's just happening all within here for the user using it. So I don't have to like I don't have to really bring that up. I'm trying to think what was another thing. Shop, you know. Then same thing, I can arrow key down if I wanted to, and then hit enter. So I
So
think,
this,
go
go
ahead.
on. No, go ahead.
Well, I was about to say, I think that I don't think I would ever use the lookup anymore. Um, because of this, we're not removing the lookup because people have it and they can use it.
I,
Sure.
I agree with that
Okay.
too.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I feel like because of the lookup, you were forced to, get in that pop-up window and then, this just seems smoother and easier for me.
And you might find too that this will replace your current, where you might use just the regular combo or slash drop down. Because, in some cases, I know, we've done it before where we want a combo box and we want more information. So we have our data source, returning a field that has a ton of information in it.
Right.
Um, and now you could just use a grid
Yep.
that has all those fields individually. Like, so
That's true. Yeah, I guess I didn't think of it that way. But yeah, the I guess I should show that. Let's do that real quick. The UI, not the UI, but I'm gonna take off this with. And I think I'd have to look, should look before this, but I think there is like under the covers, there is a minimum period, even if you say auto. So if your field is super, super small, it would still be larger. But let me go here. So you see it took up, since it's
yeah.
auto, it's just the size of the field itself, which could
So
be
someone
totally fine.
someone just asked, how does the filtering work with the drop down? And the filtering, it works the same way as if you had a grid and you click the search on a grid and had the contain search. So it's going to search all of those fields in there as he clicks in there or as he types in there.
Right. Yeah, it's going to go after all the columns. So yeah, that is the drop-down grid. And like we said before, we probably going forward wouldn't be using a lookup anymore. We'd be using this within forms and so forth. Right.
Yeah, any questions on that? The drop down grid? Any other questions? Okay.
Uh, Hello, hello.
Hey, I took
Can you hear me? Yeah. So this is looking good. Like yeah, as you mentioned earlier as well. So what we used to do is we used to create in a data source. We used to create a field having all the information to just display it. And yeah, this is going to help a lot. One more thing we are doing is from your point of view, what you did is you just type in the name and there was the address as well. Okay. So is there anything where we just change that ship to, and along with it, the address field nearby in the form also changes? Right now, we either use the form helper program or in the app itself, we use a button to pop up a grid, select the ship to, and then it would change all the required fields. Is there something uh, built in or no?
Yeah, I think Johnny's going to show you something here.
Okay.
So when you just like the combo box or any other field, when you select one, you can set an app variable because we have access to the entire record that was selected. Now, notice, on his drop down, ship to underscore number was the value field, but we also have access to the entire record of that grid. So you can, map and say, I want address one to go into,
Some other field.
variable, so, and then those,
Okay, so
those,
this is from the drop-down grid.
correct.
This is from the drop-down grid, you are saying? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so you should have access to
Go ahead.
the underlying record of what they've selected on that grid at runtime. So you could then pull that information and then put it to an app variable, and maybe you have that app variable linked to other fields on a form, or you're just using it when you call the backend in a save, but you have access to that.
And is it available on Edit Grid as well?
Can you say that one more time, Atul?
Is this available on Edit Grids as well? Edit Grids. Hello?
Oh, edit grids.
Edit grids.
Oh, can you
Yeah.
can you take a edit grid, like a cell editing, you mean, and transform it to a drop down grid? Is that the question?
Yeah, so suppose I'm adding a record or updating a record. Would the same feature, like suppose I am changing the ship to in an edit grid, would it change the address? Can I use the same functionality of linking it with an app variable and change the related address as well?
I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah, basically the drop down doesn't introduce any new concept as far as app variables and linking and everything. The drop down is just think of it this drop down grid, just think of it the same as a drop down. Anything you could do with a drop down, you could do with a drop down grid. There's no new concept added in terms of,
I think, would it be different for the edit grid? I'd have to look.
Yeah, so what you showed right now, like for the that drop down grid, we had all the fields of that grid available in the link to app variable. Okay, same, are those available in edit grid as well, where I can link it to any app variable, and then maybe I can link the variable to the other fields.
Jenny, I
So
think
suppose I want to, in an edit grid, I want to.
yeah.
Am I audible properly, or is it my voice low?
I think what you're asking is basically, can you use the drop down grid in an edit grid, right?
Yes.
That's your question. See, I think these might be linked to forms. If you go to settings, Johnny, maybe, or maybe this is just.
It's all form linked to forms on those things.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you were to, I guess, just create an edit grid quickly, like from anything, I guess. So same concept. We don't have a state grid, but it's the same concept. I don't know if that's answering your question.
I think what he's, I guess I think what he's asking, we can transform it, but once it's in the edit grid, can he have access to that record data?
Other fields. Yeah, the entire record of that drop down grid.
I'm not sure. because it's in line.
Oh, if we have that whole app variable set up from
Yeah, per row on an edit grid. I don't know.
I think we'll follow up with you on and we'll take a look. But
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, no, not sorry. Now I understand your question.
Well, if can I make a comment?
Sure.
So I've used this drop down edit or drop down grid on edit grids already, and I think when you make the selection, I'm pretty sure I have on two separate applications just have a um, like a grid helper RPG program on the back end performing other actions that may update things based upon that user selection, you know? So I don't know, Sean and
Yeah.
John, if
So
you
through
could
program,
if you could,
it's through yeah, through program it's fine. Like I just what they were showing, we are seeing right now, it would avoid writing programs, So that's what I was trying to see if it can help in edit grids as well. So it would just read work of writing a.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if we
I'm
can
just saying
just
there is a way to do it. There is a way to do it in another way as well. I just wanted to point that out.
yeah, that way, yeah, we follow that way right now. Like when we change anything, we either have some programs running behind which do the changes. That's in place. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah, you can carry on. We can touch base on this later when we actually have any use. We'll send you an actual use case scenario. We can discuss later on. Right?
Okay. All right. Um, are we moving away from the drop down now, Johnny?
Yeah, if anybody else has any questions, otherwise, yeah, we can move on from that. Stop my share.
There. Okay. You can see my screen?
Indeed.
Okay. All right. I'm going into let's see, I'll just go into any of these grids here. Okay, so let me go into one that has more data, maybe. Does this have more data? Not really, but okay. Okay, so this is on every widget now.
Every
I'm sorry. Yep, every widget has a UI now of, well, we've always had default and slim view. So slim view, we'll see it makes it slimmer, and then there is now an ultra slim view, is even smaller.
which
So
I guess I should, sorry, Sean, to break in, but because we have those icons rendering, I think those are a set height. So, you know what I mean?
all right, I'll do this one. Okay, so we've got our default view, our slim view, and then our ultra slim view. Okay, so one of the problems with that we've heard at times or even experienced ourselves is I'll create a widget and I'll have it as a regular view, let's say, and then I'm reusing that widget into another application where it's really not the main driver of the screen, let's say, and I want to actually have a smaller view. And up until this, your UI was your UI. That's how every app was going to incorporate it. So I'll keep this as ultra slim and I'll save this. And I'm just going to run the application that uses that. And you'll see right now, these are all the regular views. This application doesn't make sense. I just threw a few widgets on a screen. But you can see we have the ultra slim here. Okay. So I'm going to go into my app, and under theming now we have this little drop down here. If I go here, it'll just tell me to, select a UI to apply a consistent appearance. So it's going to change every widget, app bar, buttons, and, tab bars and that sort of thing. So let me change this to, right now I have nothing selected. So that means that's the default behavior, how it always was. It's just going to honor whatever the widget is. Okay. And that's what we're seeing here. This is ultra slim and I didn't change any of these. But if I say, oh, make them all the default. And if I save this and rerun this application, now I'd expect all of them to be the default, even though this one is ultra slim. Okay. So if I go back into it and say, well, let's make everything ultra slim. So now if I reload this, we'll see that, everything now is honoring that ultra slim. I might say, well, sure, I want everything to be ultra slim, but I want, let's say, this widget to honor whatever the widget level UI is. Okay. So if I go back in here and I'll hover over this and go to settings, you'll see here there's use widget level UI. Okay. So I'll save that. Now this one should go back to whatever the widget was the default. Okay. So it's just a way to apply your UI at the app level and or combination with the widget level, up to you. But it just makes it useful when you're reusing widgets and you don't, you want, in some cases, you have more space or want it to be, more prominent than when you're bringing it into another application. I think that's really it with this. Pretty simple. And if I wanted to go back to, what it was before, just honoring, I could just, remove that. Now it's just going to honor every widget setting. Okay. And one thing I'll point out too, and since I don't have a UI specified, if I go back to settings here, I don't see that setting to, use the widget level setting because it doesn't matter. We're not, you don't have an app UI specified. So there's no need to say use the widget level UI because that's what it's going to do.
Well, I guess just showing that, like, even on that first tab or that first widget, the country and number of customers, you can see the difference between the default slim and ultra slim, the number of rows that are shown in that view.
Yeah, definitely. You'll see it change in the background here too. So
Sweet.
that's application level UI. I think that's all I got for this. Unless there's any questions.
Any questions on that? Oh, looks like there's a back to the drop down. What if you need to filter the grid based on a value in another field? Based on another value in the field.
Well,
I mean,
got to think that one out.
I guess, I mean, if the request was, I'm transforming this field to a drop-down grid, but based on another field, I want to limit the results for that, then I would be using a VVN virtual and
Yeah.
that data source would automatically get filtered down. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions before we go?
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks.